Here's where we left off yesterday. The boy rose and stood, stretching his stiff limbs. The water had restored him, and he felt much stronger. But he found that the earth heaved, and the sea heaved with the sea's own motion, and he swayed to keep his balance. His legs still pained, and he would need the juice of limes to cauterize the coral wound. I don't know if you ever had lime juice or lemon juice before. It's kind of good, but out of a real lime and a real lemon, not like lemonade. If you would get that in a crack in your skin, because there's acid in it, it would sting really bad. And so what he's saying is he's going to take some lime on purpose and put it in his open wound to cauterize. That would mean to burn out any infectious stuff that's in there. Cauterize the coral wound. The purua leaves to make a healing bandage. Nearby was a tree loaded with wild limes. He plucked half a dozen of the fruits, broke them on a bit of coral, and squeezed the juice into the wound. He winced, ooh, ouch, as the caustic stung. But when he had bound the leaf bandage and twisted a vine, with a twist of vine, it seemed that already his leg felt better. Soon the swelling would be gone. So this kid's pretty smart. First he takes a lime, cleans out with its juices, then he takes some leaves, makes that like his band-aid, and he gets the leaves to hold onto his leg by twisting a vine around it. Close at hand he discovered a rude trail made by wild pigs and goats in their wanderings across the mountain. The trail led up through the footholds to a high plateau, which the boy decided would make a splendid lookout. From that point of vantage, he would be able to survey the entire island and see for a distance of many miles. He followed the path where it led back into the jungle along the course of the swift-flowing stream. The trail sloped up sharply, and Mufasa pulled himself up by the roots and the trailing lianas, now climbing, now crawling flat on his stomach. He found that he had to stop every now and then to catch his breath. Yuri ran beside him, dashing off on this scent and that. The dog's shrill, sharp bark shadowed the morning stillness. I don't know about you, but I'd be a little bit afraid that I was going to crawl upon a new village, and now my dog's barking. They might know that I'm there. Well, let's find out. For a quarter of a mile, the coconuts held beautiful trees that were more luxuriant than any on Haikura. It was always thus in the rich soil of the volcano islands. There came a belt of the breadfruit and wild bananas, of oranges and of guavas and mangoes. The roots of the mape tree, the island chestnut, twisted over the ground in strange, tormented shapes. Vines trailed like aerial ropes from the high branches where the orchids bloomed, while little parakeets fled on swift wings and vanished in the green gloom. Mufasa had never before seen woods like these, for Haikura was open and windswept. This endless legion of trees seemed to close in upon him, imprison him with reaching arms, with heavy odors and eerie light and shadows. Ferns grew higher than a tall man's head. The roof of the leaves was powdered with starry blossoms. By the time Mufasa reached the plateau, he's going up and up and up this mountain, he was exhausted, and his leg throbbed with pain. He lay down full length upon the volcano rock and watched wild goats leaping from peak to peak high above his head, and he heard their shrill bleating in the clean air. When he caught his breath, he sat up again and looked about. The plateau appeared to divide the island in half. From his vantage point, the boy could see its whole circumference. Now, circumference is the distance around. So he could see all the way around the island. He was hoping desperately for some sign of human habitation, yet fearing it too, for he knew whether humans might prove friends or enemies. He almost hoped that the island was inhabited, but if it were, he shivered as he realized his isolation. So if nobody's there, he's all by himself. That's kind of good. He doesn't have to worry about anybody else, but it's bad because there won't be anybody to talk to or hang out with or get help from. Even at sea, in his small canoe, he had not felt so utterly alone as he did here on this strange high island. Everything about it was alien and forbidding. He stood there looking off to the southwest, and all at once his heart gave a jump, and he strained forward. A cone-shaped vague as a cloud upon the horizon showed him the existence of another island. It must have been 50 miles distant as the boy watched eagerly, scarcely daring to believe the testimony of his eyes. He saw what might have been a column of smoke lifting high into the air from the peak of the canoe. He had heard Grandfather Raoul tell of the Smoking Islands, the home of savage tribes. They were the dark islands of the eaters of men. Was that distant island one such? Perhaps this very island upon which he stood belonged to them too. It was a terrible thought. And that's where we'll pause for today. We'll pick it up next week. God bless your day.